Joining us now, the Florida Democratic Senator Bill Nelson. He's a key member, a senior member, I should say, of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, thanks very much for joining us. A quick question on the cost of this. We know 40 Tomahawk cruise missiles were launched. Each one of those, according to the U.S. Navy, costs about $500,000. So do the math. That's $20 million or so right there. This is going to wind up costing U.S. taxpayers a lot of money. Is that money already appropriated, part of the Defense Department spending already, or will you need more appropriations authorization to pay for what could be a very long war?
Yes and yes. The arsenal that they have is already paid for, but we're going to need a lot more in the future.
So that means the president's going to have to come to you, a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and your colleagues, and seek more money. Are you ready to support, at a time of domestic economic issues, obviously, are you ready to spend whatever it takes to defeat ISIS in Iraq and Syria?
Yes, sir. The country is threatened. The entire free world is threatened. One of the reasons to have a national government is to provide for the common defense, and that's what we'll do.
Would it be unusual to ask some of the oil-rich Arab countries, whether Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Qatar, they have a lot of money, to reimburse the United States for some of the enormous costs this is going to require?
Absolutely. One of the things that sticks in my craw is that when we went into Iraq, by the way, under false pretenses, we were also told that the revenues from the Iraqi oil was going to reimburse the United States for all of our treasure that we spent. It never was. And so absolutely now, the Arab nations have to shoulder the cost.
I guess the president is going to be meeting tomorrow with the new prime minister of Iraq, Haider al-Abadi. As far as I know, the Iraqis have not reimbursed the United States anything over these past 10 years or so, and the U.S. is now trying to get rid of ISIS on behalf of the new Iraqi government and the Iraqi military, which was MIA over these past several months, as we all know. Would it be appropriate for Iraq, a major oil exporting country, to reimburse U.S. taxpayers for whatever it costs to free Iraq from ISIS right now?
Not only is it appropriate, but we ought to insist that Iraq share the expenses. We want them to get their military so that they're doing the boots on the ground while we're helping them from the air. But it's a long-term, expensive campaign. And the Iraqi oil ought to now start paying for what we were told years ago it would be.
The U.S. spent probably at least $1 trillion over the past 10 years, 15 years or so, at least 11 or 12 years in Iraq. We'll see if the Iraqi government steps up and is willing to do so. My suspicion is the answer will be a very polite no. No, indeed, but we'll see what they do. We'll see what the other Arab countries that have a lot of money, what they decide to do as well. Right now, the U.S. is pretty grateful. They're just cooperating militarily with the U.S. in this war, this new war against ISIS. Senator Nelson, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Wolf.